A bright young boy, a trusted online friendship, and a horrifying betrayal. What led to this unimaginable tragedy? In the quiet suburbs of Surrey, England, the laughter of 14-year-old Breck Bednar often filled the home he shared with his mother and siblings. Breck was the kind of teenager every parent dreams of, bright, kind, and full of potential. He was a devoted son, a caring brother, and a loyal friend. Breck's passion for technology and curiosity about the world made him stand out. His love for gaming wasn't just a pastime, it was his way of exploring new connections, forming bonds, and dreaming big about a future in tech. But as the digital world became a more significant part of his life, it became the bridge to something unimaginable. In this online space where friendships are formed with just the click of a button, Breck met someone who would forever alter the course of his life. This wasn't just another gamer, another friend in a virtual world. This was someone who saw Breck not as a boy with dreams but as a target. How could an ordinary teenager, playing games and chatting with friends, be caught in a web of manipulation and deceit? How could a safe space millions of young people turn to daily transform into a stage for betrayal? Tonight, we dive deep into Breck Bednar's story, which began with an innocent love of gaming and ended in heartbreak that would shatter an entire family. This is a story of trust, choices, and a tragic warning about the unseen dangers hidden behind the screens we all depend on. What happened to Breck is a cautionary tale, a reminder that the unimaginable can happen even in the most trusted spaces. Stay with us as we uncover the chilling details of an online friendship that turned deadly. In 2014, 14-year-old Breck Bednar, a promising student from Surrey, England, met someone online who would ultimately end his life. This is the story of how an online predator gained his trust and shattered his family's world. Breck Bednar wasn't just any teenager, he was extraordinary in his quiet way. A bright young boy with a natural gift for technology, he had dreams that reached far beyond his years. His teachers saw his potential, his classmates admired his friendly, easygoing nature. At home, he was a protective older brother to his siblings and a source of pride for his parents, Barry and Lauren, who worked tirelessly to provide him and his 3 younger siblings with a safe, loving upbringing. Breck's passion for computers wasn't just a hobby, it was his calling. He spent countless hours tinkering with programs, designing, learning, and challenging himself. The digital world was his playground, where he could be creative, curious, and confident. Like many teenagers, Breck's world extended beyond school walls, reaching walls into the vast, ever-connected universe of online gaming. Breck found more than just games in these virtual spaces, he found camaraderie. His online friends shared his enthusiasm for technology, often exchanging tips, strategies, and dreams. It was a place of belonging, where laughter and teamwork blurred the lines between real life and the digital realm. But one connection, in particular, would change everything. This person wasn't just another peer in Breck's gaming circle. He was older, authoritative, and charismatic. Breck, eager to learn from someone who seemed more experienced, began to trust him. The bond seemed harmless at first, a mentorship rooted in shared interests. But as the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, this friendship became something far more dangerous. The changes in Breck were subtle, almost imperceptible at first. He spends more time online and is increasingly insistent on privacy during gaming sessions. But Lauren, Breck's mother, was vigilant. She could sense something was off, though the whole picture remained out of focus. Breck had always been such a trustworthy and sensible child, imagining him in danger was hard. But the world of online communication isn't always what it seems. It's a place where people can hide behind screens, disguising their true intentions. Breck's trust, openness, and genuine nature became vulnerabilities that his online friend would exploit in unimaginable ways. This case serves as a heartbreaking reminder of the hidden dangers in the digital world. Breck's story haunts every parent's worst fears. How could a bright, kind boy, surrounded by love and guidance, fall into the hands of someone who would betray him so ultimately? There are no simple answers, but it forces us to confront the realities of our increasingly digital lives. Stay tuned as we explore the lives of both the victim and the perpetrator, the chilling motives behind the crime, and the lessons we must never forget. Breck's journey into the clutches of a predator didn't happen overnight. It was gradual, calculated, and devastating. His parents would later uncover details that painted a horrifying picture of manipulation and control. When put together, the pieces tell a story of heartbreak, loss, and unimaginable betrayal. This is the story of a promising young life, stolen in its prime, and a family left to pick up the shattered pieces. It's a story that serves as a stark warning to us all, a reminder that the digital spaces we trust so easily can hide unimaginable dangers. Breck Bednar was a young boy who seemed destined for greatness. Born to American parents, Lauren Lefebvre and Barry Bednar, Breck grew up in the tranquil surroundings of Surrey, England. From the very beginning, Breck had a passion for learning. He wasn't just an ordinary teenager, he was exceptional, even in ways he couldn't fully understand at the time. Breck was a curious, imaginative, and kind-hearted boy with an extraordinary ability to grasp technology. He was the kind of young man who excelled in academics and life. He made friends quickly, got along well with his family, and had big dreams. Breck's love for computers wasn't just a hobby, it was his world. He spent hours each day exploring coding, gaming, and even tinkering with technology. He was fascinated by the endless possibilities of the digital world and often dreamed of becoming a computer programmer. Breck's parents, Lauren and Barry, saw this passion and encouraged him every step of the way, ensuring he had the tools he needed to succeed. They believed in him. He was their eldest child, a responsible older brother, and a bright, promising young man with a bright future ahead. But, as Breck's parents would later realize, even in their watchful eyes, something darker had quietly found its way into their son's life. The very thing that connected him to his dreams, the internet, would eventually lead him to a deadly encounter that would steal his life away in the blink of an eye. Louis Daines, on the other hand, was a far cry from Breck. At 18, Daines was living a lonely, isolated life in Essex. Though he portrayed himself as an experienced and successful tech guru, Daines had little to show. His world was confined to the digital space, where he spent hours in online forums and gaming communities. Daines had an unsettling habit of preying on younger boys in these spaces, presenting himself as a mentor who could teach them about technology, business, and the world beyond the screen. Daines' reclusive life was built on control and manipulation. Though he was skilled with computers, his personal life was lacking. He had no close friends and few real-world connections. He created a false image of himself online, someone with wealth, success, and influence. In truth, he had nothing. But to the younger, more impressionable boys he targeted, he was a figure to be admired. He fed them lies, telling them about his supposed achievements, painting himself as a success in a world they only dreamed of. It was through this manipulation that Daines slowly began to carve a path toward Breck, targeting him with the same promises of mentorship and success he had used with others before. While Breck was surrounded by the warmth and safety of a loving family, Daines was already quietly scheming. With each message in chat, Daines weaved his web of control. He had found his next target and was determined to gain Breck's trust, no matter the cost. Breck and Daines first met in an online gaming community, where like-minded individuals shared their love of technology and gaming. At first, their conversations were nothing more than casual discussions about gaming strategies and coding tricks. Daines initially seemed harmless, another gamer who shared Breck's enthusiasm for tech. But Daines quickly sought to deepen their connection. He positioned himself as someone who could help Breck reach his dreams, offering advice and tips about the world of technology. As their chats grew longer, Daines painted a picture of success. One that Breck, with his passion for technology, found alluring. Daines was skilled at making Breck feel special, making him believe he was the only one who truly understood his potential. The older man subtly began isolating Breck from his friends and family, using his charm and manipulative words to convince Breck that no one else was looking out for him the way he was. Over time, Dane's messages grew more possessive. He began to claim that he was the only one who could help Breck achieve his dreams while painting others, friends and family alike, as obstacles standing in his way. In his youth and naivete, Breck didn't see the danger in these words. He was hungry for knowledge for success, and Danes seemed to offer a direct route. But Breck's trust in Danes was slowly eroded, and no one could see the path for him, until it was too late. On February 16, 2014, Breck's family had no reason to suspect that their son's life was in danger. They knew he was meeting with a friend he had been talking to online for months. Breck had told his parents he would visit a friend's house, which, in hindsight, should have raised alarm bells. But Breck, like so many teenagers, assured them it was no different from any other visit to a friend's house. His family didn't know that this friend was not just anyone. Danes had already manipulated Breck into believing that this meeting in Essex was an opportunity to take his future to the next level, a chance to discuss a business venture, a way to break into the tech world. Breck's excitement, his belief in his potential, clouded any suspicions he might have had. But when Breck arrived at Dane's flat, everything changed. It was a trap. Dane's true intentions were revealed in an act of premeditated violence that would end Breck's life in an instant. Dane stabbed Breck to death, then placed a call to emergency services, claiming that he had acted in self-defense. His calm demeanor and his unsettlingly casual recounting of the event sent chills through investigators. The truth would soon unravel and be far more horrifying than anticipated. When the police arrived at Dane's flat, the scene was disturbing in its stillness. But the digital trail left behind told the real story. Investigators quickly uncovered Breck's online interactions with Danes, messages filled with manipulation, control, and lies. Chat logs painted a picture of a carefully calculated plan. Danes had preyed on Breck's vulnerabilities, using every word, every conversation, to twist him into a position of complete trust. Forensic evidence at the scene confirmed what investigators had already suspected. Breck's murder was not an act of self-defense, it was cold-blooded and premeditated. Danes had lured Breck to Essex under pretenses, only to carry out a horrific act of violence. The manipulation, the lies, the isolation, everything had led to this moment. Breck was gone, and Danes was left to face the consequences of his actions. As experts explored Danes' past, a chilling pattern emerged. Danes wasn't a random predator, a deep need for control drove him. His behavior suggested that he saw Breck not as a person but as a pawn to be manipulated, a young mind to mold into his image. He had used similar tactics with other boys, positioning himself as a mentor and confidant before isolating them. Danes was driven by a thirst for dominance and power over his victims. He wanted control over their lives, their decisions, and their futures. He believed he could shape Breck's reality, and when he realized that Breck might no longer need him, that control slipped away. In that moment, Danes acted out his twisted vision of ownership, taking Breck's life in a brutal act of violence. The aftermath of Breck's death left his family devastated. Lauren Lefebvre, Breck's mother, was left to pick up the pieces of a life that had been taken too soon. Consumed by grief, she made a choice that would honor her son's memory. She founded the Breck Foundation, an organization aimed at raising awareness about online grooming and the dangers of digital manipulation. Through the foundation, Lauren began educating parents, schools, and young people about the risks of online relationships and the importance of staying vigilant in the digital age. As for Danes, the court didn't hesitate to convict him. He was sentenced to life in prison, with a minimum of 25 years. The impact of Breck's death sent shockwaves through the UK, sparking national debates about the vulnerability of young people online and the need for stronger protections in the digital world. Breck's story is a tragedy and a reminder of the dangers many take for granted within virtual spaces. It's a cautionary tale for parents, children, and society. The digital world is a place of limitless opportunity and a space that can hide unimaginable dangers. Brecht's legacy now lives on through his mother's tireless advocacy, and his story is one that we must all learn from so that no other child will fall victim to the same fate. Imagine for a moment, you're a parent, and your child has spent hours online chatting with a new friend. They seem safe and immersed in their favorite games, and you trust them to make good decisions. But then, the unthinkable happens. Your child is gone, and no one could have predicted the danger that was lurking just a few clicks away. What would you do if you noticed the warning signs, if you saw that your child was changing, becoming distant, or speaking with someone who seemed to hold an unusual influence over them? Could you have stopped this tragedy from happening? As you hear Brecht Bednar's story, think about the red flags that might have been visible in his life. His excitement for technology was genuine, his ambition admirable, but what if he had raised some of his concerns to someone he trusted? What if those around him had recognized the signs of manipulation, of a friendship that wasn't all it seemed to be? Would Brecht still be here today if his parents had noticed the subtle shifts in his behavior, or were they more aware of the dangers lurking in the digital world? This story is filled with questions that continue to haunt Brecht's family and many others. What about you? As a parent or young person, could you identify online grooming signs before it's too late? How can we protect ourselves and those we love from falling victim to predators hiding behind screens? These questions aren't just for reflection, they're urgent and necessary in today's world, where our children's safety is increasingly at risk from those they meet online. This tragedy didn't happen in isolation, it serves as a chilling reminder of the very real threats posed by online predators. It also raises another crucial question: how can we create a digital environment where young people can explore and learn without fear of manipulation or harm? What measures should be in place, and how can we ensure that parents, educators, and communities work together to prevent future tragedies? Share your thoughts in the comments. What can we do as a society to better protect young people from the dangers of the digital world? Should there be stricter regulations for online spaces, especially for platforms that cater to minors? What steps can be taken to educate children and parents about the potential risks of the internet? This case is not just about one family's loss. It's about all of us. It's about how we can stay vigilant and raise awareness so that no more families suffer a loss like Brecht's. How can we ensure that the lesson from this tragedy is not forgotten but used to protect others from falling into the same trap? The questions are uncomfortable, but they're necessary to prevent another heartbreak, another lost life. Brecht's death cannot be in vain. It's a reminder that we must keep having these online and offline conversations. And while this is Brecht's story, it's also about the power we all have to make a change, to take action before it's too late. So, what are you willing to do to help protect the next generation? Brecht Bednar was only 14, yet he had the world at his feet. His love for technology, his dreams of becoming a computer programmer, and his bright future seemed so full of promise. But in a moment, everything changed. A young boy, full of hope, was stolen away by someone he trusted, someone who had spent months carefully shaping a relationship that would ultimately lead to his death. Brecht's story is more than just a tragedy, it's a heartbreaking reminder of the innocence of youth and the destructive power of online predators. As a child, Brecht was like many other teenagers, energetic, curious, and eager to learn. He spent his days playing video games, engaging in online communities, and chatting with friends. He had no reason to fear the virtual world, it was a space where he felt he could be himself, share his passions, and find others who understood him. Little did he know that the very thing that brought him joy would also be the tool to lure him into a trap. Imagine the pain his family must have felt, his mother, Lauren, and his father, Barry, as they watched their son transform into someone they didn't recognize. Brecht had always been open with them, but now, he was becoming more distant, more secretive. His excitement about his online friend, Louis Daines, grew, yet there were no warning signs for them to catch. They trusted Brecht, just as any parent would. They didn't know the danger silently creeping into their son's life. Then came that fateful day in February 2014. Excited by the opportunity to meet Daines and discuss his future, Breck left his family home with optimism. He was heading toward what he believed would be a turning point. How could anyone have known that the very person he thought would help him build his dreams was the one who would shatter them, and ultimately, take his life? Breck's death was not just the loss of a young life, it was the loss of a future, the loss of dreams never realized. It was a tragic, irreversible betrayal, not just of Breck, but of his family, who had placed their trust in someone they never met, who had fooled them into believing he was a mentor, a friend. The emotional devastation that followed is unimaginable. Breck's parents lost their son, and the world lost a young mind with so much potential. The heartbreaking part of this story is that Breck never saw it coming. His youth, trust in others, and innocence all played a role in his tragic fate. But what about the rest of us? Could we have prevented this? Could we have protected him from the manipulations of someone who used the internet to exploit a young, vulnerable child? These questions echo in the minds of everyone who hears Breck's story. But as we remember Breck, we cannot let his life be reduced to only the sadness of his untimely death. We must honor his memory by ensuring that no other family has to endure this pain. The lessons from Breck's story are harsh, but they are necessary. Parents, educators, and young people alike must recognize the dangers of the digital world and take action to protect themselves and each other. Let us reflect on what happened to Breck, not as a story of fear but as a call to action. Let it remind us of the risks that come with our online interactions and a catalyst for change. Breck's story may have ended in tragedy, but his legacy can live on through the awareness and the actions we take to protect those still vulnerable. Let us remember Breck and work together to ensure that no other family has to endure this unimaginable pain. We can make a difference, and we must. If Breck's story has left you unsettled, if you're now questioning the safety of the digital world, then you're not alone. This heartbreaking case reminds us of our children's online dangers and the lessons we must take from it. If you found this story eye-opening, please like, share, and subscribe to help spread awareness. It's not just about numbers, it's about getting the message out to others. The more people who hear Breck's story, the more likely we are to protect the young, the vulnerable, and the unsuspecting. Together, we can make the internet a safer place for everyone. Your support helps keep these meaningful conversations alive and ensures families are better equipped to recognize and deal with the hidden dangers online. In a world where predators are becoming more cunning, we must stay informed and vigilant. Sharing these stories and these brutal truths is the first step toward making a real difference. But stay tuned because the following case we'll uncover will leave you on the edge of your seat. Investigators were left baffled for years, and the twists and turns in the investigation will keep you guessing. What happened, and why did it take so long to uncover the truth? Don't miss it. Ensure you're subscribed so you won't miss the next video. We have much more to explore, and the journey is far from over.